Hi, my name's Alex Olson, and my favorite skateboarder is Mike Carroll, just because he's, effortless and smooth and does has a really good trick selection, which is so important. I just watched a video recently where I was like, "What the fuck are these tricks you're doing?" You probably can figure out who I'm talking about. Just kidding. Uh, yeah, but like Mike, there's more of like it's like Tai Chi or like, yeah, it's something where he's really fluid, and everything's effortless, nothing's forced. I remember, like I think my like Mike Carroll, like wow, that's like beautiful or whatever, is I was at the girl park when I was really young, probably 15, and I would go with Chris Roberts a lot. And it would just be me and Chris, or Chris's friends and me, and we would just skate. But like sometimes there would be like the pros, like the guys you see in the magazines, and and I remember seeing Carol, and they had this like little steep vert wall. It's like those really steep, it's all wall basically, and there's a little transition. But he would just crack the littlest ollie and would just float, and he would just like like kind of, yeah, just float basically and land back into the transition and just like carry on with his line. But I just remember being like, I just have it vivid, like there's a couple vivid moments in my like childhood of skateboarding, and Christian Hosoi is another one. But they like do these things like Christian Hosoi, perfect example. He's effortless when he skates. There's nothing forced, nothing jerky. It's all just one fluid line, and that's how Mike is for me. I'm trying to think, like it's just like it's like a continuous line, where like I feel like nowadays kids kind of land their tricks. They can land everything, but it's like a stomp. It's not like a forward motion. I sound completely crazy. I think another one that really like burned into my memory was he did this ollie over this hubba at UCLA, and it was a black and white photo. It was for his third shoe for Lakai. I remember just being so like, I don't know. I was just like, wow, that's so like pretty. You know what I mean? I mean, there's obviously the line at the library in San Francisco that is like amazing. I was at that premiere, and I remember tripping because no one, like, you were a kook if you did a hard flip, but he did it the right way, which now is weird because I want to see the kook hard flip nowadays because everyone like perfected it. And now you're like, ah, it's like, like Malto. I feel like Malto was like the kid that could do the hard flip the right way and was sick. But like before that, it was like the illusion flip is what used to be called. I don't know. Yeah, I had met him a couple times, but I'd be like an annoying kid being like trying to figure out how to just talk to him. Like, hey, my dad's Steve Olson. And they're like, what? Okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know what to say. And I think I remembered asking Rick, like, how do you do 360 flips? And he like told me, but and then he like says that he remembers that. I'm like, you don't remember that. There's no way you remember that. But like, yeah. But I remember, and I've talked about this story in the past, but they had just started Lakai, and maybe the first line or first season or second season had just come out, and he had like these they were called the clays, and he had the white shoes, but they were all spray painted black. But the people that were doing that was like Ellington and Reynolds and Greco, so it was really contrast of seeing like kind of a fresh dude back then from a Hesh dude rocking that, and they were all like cracked and they looked sick, and he had like a really thick beard, and I was like, whoa, this guy, like I can remember his outfit. He had like a red shirt on, khaki pants, spray painted shoes, and like a beard, and I wanted to kiss him. No. He's intimidating because he doesn't talk, and he's very like deadpan in the sense. So then you're like, oh shit, and like, yeah, I don't know. When someone's of that talent, you're always just like, you try to be on best behavior. I was so young though. I was like 14, being like, oh my god. Then Supreme opened up in Los Angeles, and then I started hanging out with Scott because he was skating the bowl, and Scott was kind of the guy that was like psyched on me. And then Scott was close with Mike, and then that kind of like I became close with Mike, whatever. I mean, like I'd always play skate with him. I beat him a couple times, but like that was really hard. But like he was always the guy that you would play skate and you would get like, because he was like fucking unbelievable at playing skate, but like you would get to T, get him on T, and you're like, oh dude, I'm good, I'm at like K, whatever, like I got him. And then like just fucking, he would always come back and land everything, and it was just like, fuck, dude. I mean, Modus was probably my introduction. Chocolate Tour, Crack Raider. That, yeah, that one's cool because also the cool like story about that is he was hurt during that time, a lot of it, and wasn't really hyped on skating. He filmed that video, was bummed on his part, and then made Modus. So that's pretty cool. I just, that's what he's told me. He's just like, yeah, I wasn't really into skating at that point. I filmed that video part, whatever, and then I watched it. I was bummed on it, and so then, you know, and then he quit DC, started Lakai, and you know, I think when you start a brand, you're like, okay, I need to fucking bring it, or at least, or whatever, try to, and he did Modus. Sorry. Well, that was the, like, so it's kind of cool that was like, I like that part because that's like this, that's like the weird, like when I got into Carol, basically, that was my introduction, like the Embarcadero DC, he had he had a kickflip photo in a DC ad that just said sorry. I was like, what does that mean? You know what I mean? Because he had no quote. So like he just said sorry, because like the old DC ads, they would always have quotes from the skaters and said sorry, Mike Carroll, and I was just like, what the fuck does that mean? It's so vague. It's like yeah, the white one. It's a really sick photo. It's really saturated.
He wrote sorry on it?
It just says sorry in quotations, Mike Carroll. That was like my introduction. It was like, oh wow, and like that shoe had just come out. I think I had enough understanding of skateboarding, like who was sick and who wasn't. You know, it wasn't just like who was in Tony Hawk Pro Skater, but yeah. So that part is the part that came out right at the same time as that shoe, and it was just a cool time in skateboarding. Dude, there was one time, there was something where we were fighting on like a trip. I'm like, it's not possible, and we like got like a screaming match, and then like it was like a trick I was trying. He's like, you can do it, da 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 da, and me and him are like in the back screaming, and then like I was like, fuck it, watch, it's not, I can't do it, and I did it after like yelling at him, and it was the 50-50 in the fully flared where like 50-50 transfer into the bank, like the double kink. But yeah, it was me and him, like just like we were like fucking like, you know, like a fucking husband and wife just yelling like, I can't, it's not fucking gonna work, you know? And then whatever, yeah, I did it. He's like, see? And then I couldn't say anything because obviously he did it. But it was pretty funny.